In medieval England, between 1066 and 1485, society was rigidly stratified into three distinct classes: those who fought, those who prayed, and those who worked. The vast majority, over 90% of the population, AT, belonged to the third category, bound to the land as peasants, serfs, and villeins. They lived lives of backbreaking labour, earning barely enough to survive, never sleeping on real beds, rarely bathing, and seldom travelling beyond 10 miles from their birthplace. But there was a fourth, emerging class that the traditional framework barely acknowledged: those who traded. Merchants, craftsmen, and guild members occupied a precarious but potentially lucrative position between the peasantry and nobility. Unlike peasants bound to the soil, or nobles bound by feudal obligations, merchants could accumulate wealth through wit, risk, and relentless ambition. This is the world where our story unfolds, a world where a single successful transaction could feed a family for months, where guild membership meant the difference between poverty and prosperity, and where the right connection to nobility could transform a peasant's son into a merchant prince. It was a world of opportunity for those bold enough to seize it, but also one where failure meant not just financial ruin, but social disgrace and potentially death. Our protagonist dreams of escaping the cycle of subsistence farming that has trapped his family for generations. He yearns not just for comfort, but for the security and respect that comes with wealth, the ability to own property, influence local politics, arrange advantageous marriages for his children, and perhaps even gain a voice in the merchant guilds that controlled trade across England. Now, let's begin today's story. Find a comfortable position, close your eyes if you'd like, and let yourself be transported to a world where ambition could overcome birth, where cunning could triumph over circumstance, and where a peasant's son dared to dream of wealth beyond imagination. The first grey light of dawn creeps through the single oiled parchment window of your family's cottage. But you've been awake for an hour already, while your parents, wife, and 3 children still sleep on their straw-filled pallets. You lie calculating, always calculating. The familiar sounds of rural morning begin around you. Roosters crowing, pigs grunting in their pen just outside the thin wooden walls, the distant lowing of cattle in the Lord's fields. But these sounds no longer comfort you as they once did. Instead, they remind you of the endless cycle of survival that has trapped your family for as far back as anyone can remember. Your father stirs on his pallet across the single room that houses all 7 of you. At 50, he looks ancient, his back permanently bent from decades of following the plough, his hands gnarled and scarred from handling crude farming tools. He's accepted his lot. He was born a peasant, he'll die a peasant, and he expects the same of you. But you've seen something different. Last month, when you delivered grain to the Lord's storehouse, you witnessed a transaction that changed everything. A wool merchant from London, clean clothes, soft hands, a purse that jingled with silver coins, purchased the entire season's wool harvest with casual ease. The amount he paid exceeded what your family might see in 5 years of farming. He stayed in the manor's guest quarters, ate white bread with honey, and rode away in a cart pulled by horses worth more than your cottage. That night, you began your secret calculations. Underneath the loose floorboard near the hearth, wrapped in oiled cloth, you keep a growing collection of copper and silver pennies. Coins saved from selling eggs at market when your family needed food, from repairing neighbours' tools when you should have been sleeping, from a dozen small schemes and savings that your wife doesn't know about. The total, counted and recounted by candlelight, equals £3.07. A fortune by peasant standards, but barely enough to buy a decent horse. Still, it's a beginning. More importantly, it represents something your father has never possessed: choice. You know the path forward won't be simple. Medieval England offers few opportunities for social mobility, and those that exist require careful navigation of guild politics, noble patronage, and commercial law. But you've been watching, learning, and planning. The weekly markets in neighbouring towns have become your classroom. The travelling merchants who stop at local inns have become your unwitting teachers. Your wife stirs beside you, her hand finding yours in the pre-dawn darkness. Margaret married you 5 years ago, when you were just another peasant's son with strong hands and willingness to work. She's borne you 3 children and never complained about your frequent absences or mysterious activities. But lately, you've caught her watching you with questioning eyes, especially when small luxuries appear in your home. A jar of honey you claimed to have found, a bolt of better cloth, you said, was payment for helping repair a wagon. She trusts you, but she also knows you're changing. The way you speak after visiting the market towns has evolved. You use words learned from merchants, discuss concepts like profit margins and trade routes. Sometimes she finds you practicing writing letters in the dirt behind the cottage, using a stick to form words she can't read. This morning, like every morning for the past month, you make the same silent promise. Today might bring the opportunity you've been preparing for, the chance encounter, the desperate noble, the merchant in need of local knowledge. You've positioned yourself as carefully as possible, but success will ultimately depend on courage, timing, and the kind of luck that rarely favours peasants. The village bell rings, signalling the official start of the working day. Around you, your family begins to stir. Your father groans as his joints protest another day of physical labour. Your eldest son Thomas, barely 10 years old, already knows he'll spend the morning helping with the ploughing. But you've secretly been teaching him numbers, showing him how to calculate quantities and values. If your plans succeed, he won't spend his life behind a plough. You rise quietly, splashing cold water from yesterday's bucket onto your face. The water is precious. It took an hour to carry from the village well, but cleanliness will be important today. Merchants notice details like dirty hands and unwashed clothes. You've learned that appearance influences negotiations almost as much as the quality of goods being offered. In your hidden cache beneath the floorboards, alongside your growing collection of coins, you keep other treasures that would seem worthless to your family, but represent knowledge to you. A piece of parchment with notes about seasonal price variations scratched out in letters you've taught yourself to write. A small sample of high-quality wool acquired during a trip to the next county, so you can recognize superior fleece by touch. A list of noble families and their known financial situations, gathered from overheard conversations and careful questioning of servants at market. Today feels different. The air carries hints of change. Perhaps it's the approaching harvest season, or the rumours of military campaigns creating demand for supplies. Whatever the cause, you sense opportunity approaching like distant thunder. The careful preparations of the past months have led to this moment, when ambition must transform into action. Your family doesn't yet know that their comfortable poverty is about to be risked on the slim chance of something better. They don't know that the careful savings hidden in your cottage represent not security, but the stake you're prepared to gamble on transforming their futures. They trust you to provide steady, reliable survival. You're about to bet their trust on the possibility of wealth. The sun clears the horizon, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose. It's going to be a beautiful day, perfect for travelling, perfect for trade, perfect for the kind of calculated risks that separate successful merchants from failed dreamers. You've spent months preparing for this moment. Now, finally, it's time to begin. The weekly market in Thornfield draws villagers from 5 neighbouring settlements, transforming the quiet village green into a maze of temporary stalls, bleating animals, and shouting vendors. For most families, market day represents necessity, selling surplus eggs or vegetables to buy essential items like salt, iron tools, or cloth. For you, it has become something else entirely. A laboratory for studying the principles of medieval commerce. You arrive early, as always, ostensibly to help your father sell the family's meagre surplus, but actually to observe the intricate dance of medieval trade. Your trained eye immediately catalogues the morning's opportunities and threats. The wool merchant from Stamford has returned with his cart half empty. Either his previous stops were unsuccessful, or he's holding space for a major purchase. The grain dealer from Lincoln looks nervous, constantly checking his supplies, possibly indicating shortages that might drive up prices. Your father spreads the family's goods on a rough cloth. 6 eggs, a small wheel of cheese your mother made from their single cow's milk, and a basket of late-season vegetables from your garden plot. The total value represents perhaps 2 weeks of careful saving, but to your increasingly sophisticated understanding of market dynamics, it also represents inefficiency. These goods could generate more profit with better timing, superior presentation, or access to customers willing to pay premium prices. Stay close and keep your eyes open, your father instructs, unaware that you've been doing exactly that for months. Watch how the prices change throughout the day. Notice which goods sell quickly and which merchants seem most successful. You nod obediently while mentally noting details he doesn't see. The cloth merchant from Canterbury has positioned himself strategically near the church entrance, where noble families attending morning services will pass. His fabrics are displayed on wooden frames rather than spread on the ground, creating an impression of quality that justifies higher prices. More importantly, his young apprentice moves through the crowd, identifying potential customers, whispering information about their needs and resources. This intelligence-gathering aspect of medieval commerce fascinates you. Successful merchants don't simply display goods and wait for buyers. They actively research their customers, understanding not just what people need, but when they'll be most motivated to pay premium prices. The cloth merchant knows that Lady Hawthorne's daughter will marry in 3 months, creating demand for wedding fabrics. He understands that Sir Geoffrey recently received rents from his northern properties, providing him with ready cash for luxury purchases. Your own attempts at intelligence gathering have been more modest, but surprisingly effective. Through careful observation and casual questioning, you've mapped the seasonal needs and financial cycles of every family within a day's travel. You know that the miller's wife requires high-quality herbs for her persistent cough, that the blacksmith needs steady supplies of charcoal for his forge, and that the merchant families in the next town pay premium prices for fresh eggs and cheese because their urban environment limits agricultural production. A commotion near the livestock area draws your attention. A travelling horse dealer is examining the animals offered for sale, shaking his head dismissively at most, while occasionally showing interest in particular specimens. The dynamics of this negotiation reveal layers of complexity that most peasants never recognise. The horse dealer isn't simply buying horses, he's acquiring specific types of animals for specific markets. The young stallion with good conformation will be sold to a noble family seeking a warhorse for their son. The gentle mare with smooth gaits will appeal to merchants needing reliable transportation. The sturdy gelding will find work as a pack animal for trade caravans. Each category commands different prices in different markets, and the dealer's profit comes from understanding these variations better than local sellers. You watch as he selects 3 horses, paying prices that seem generous to their peasant owners, but represent significant markups when resold to appropriate buyers. The transaction teaches you fundamental principles of medieval commerce, the importance of market knowledge, the profits available to those who understand demand variations, and the advantage of mobility in seeking optimal buyers. Your father completes his own modest sales as the morning progresses. The eggs sell quickly, they're always in demand, and your family's hens produce consistently good quality. The cheese takes longer to move, requiring negotiations with 3 different potential buyers before finding one willing to pay a fair price. The vegetables prove most challenging, as several other families offer similar produce and buyers can afford to be selective. During a lull between customers, you carefully approach the wool merchant from Stamford. Your manner is respectful but knowledgeable. You've learned that medieval merchants respond well to those who understand their business, rather than those who simply need their services. Fine fleeces this year, you observe, examining his displayed samples with practiced eye. The northern counties have had good weather for sheep. He looks at you with interest, recognizing that your comment demonstrates unusual knowledge for a peasant. You know wool, he asks. My family keeps a few sheep, you reply carefully. Which is true, though misleading. Your family keeps 2 elderly ewes that barely produce enough wool for your own household needs. I've learned to judge quality from my mother's spinning. This conversation represents a calculated risk. If the merchant realizes your limited actual experience, he might dismiss you as a pretentious peasant. But if he accepts your claimed knowledge, he might become a valuable source of information about larger wool markets and pricing trends. Quality varies more than people realize, he agrees, warming to the topic. The wool merchants in London pay premium prices for consistent superior fleeces, but most producers don't understand what creates quality. They think all wool is the same. What makes the difference, you ask, genuinely curious, but also gathering intelligence that might prove valuable later. He spends 10 minutes explaining the factors that influence wool quality: sheep breeding, feeding practices, seasonal timing of shearing, proper cleaning and sorting techniques. This information, freely shared because he sees no threat in educating a peasant, provides you with knowledge that could prove valuable if you ever gain access to wool production or trading opportunities. As the market day progresses, you implement small experiments in commercial strategy. When your father isn't watching, you reorganize the display of remaining vegetables, grouping similar items together and creating more appealing visual arrangements. The improved presentation leads to slightly better prices for the final sales, demonstrating principles you've observed from more successful merchants. By afternoon, as the market begins winding down, you've absorbed dozens of lessons in medieval commerce. You've observed successful negotiation techniques, studied the relationship between presentation and pricing, and begun understanding the information networks that successful merchants use to identify opportunities. Most importantly, you've identified potential partners for future ventures. The grain dealer from Lincoln seems honest and capable, but lacks local knowledge that you could provide. The cloth merchant from Canterbury appears prosperous, but might need reliable suppliers of quality raw materials. The horse dealer operates on a scale that requires more capital than you currently possess, but his methods could be adapted to smaller enterprises. The walk home with your father passes in comfortable silence, but your mind races with plans and calculations. Today's observations have refined your understanding of medieval commercial opportunities and confirmed your belief that careful study and strategic thinking can overcome the disadvantages of humble birth. Your hidden cache of coins represents not just savings now, but potential capital for entering the complex world of medieval trade. The question is no longer whether you can escape peasant poverty, but which opportunity will provide the best path to the wealth and security you've begun to envision for your family? Your first real chance arrives disguised as disaster. You're repairing a broken cartwheel behind the village smithy when you overhear a hushed but urgent conversation between two men on horseback. One wears the blue and gold livery of Lord Mortimer's household. You recognise him as Edmund the steward, responsible for managing the Lord's domestic affairs. The other, a merchant you don't recognise, appears to be delivering disappointing news. "Impossible!" Edmund hisses, his voice carrying the edge of panic that only comes when a servant faces his master's wrath. "The feast is in 3 days. Lady Catherine's betrothal cannot be postponed again. The bishop himself will attend, along with delegates from 4 neighbouring lordships." The merchant spreads his hands apologetically. "The grain spoiled during transport, my lord. The wet weather. There was nothing to be done. Perhaps another source." "There is no time for another source," Edmund interrupts. "I need 40 bushels of the finest wheat, 20 of barley, and 10 of oats. The kitchens require premium grain for the ceremonial breads and ales. Inferior quality would be noticed. Your hands continue working on the cartwheel, but your mind races. This represents exactly the kind of opportunity you've been preparing for. A desperate buyer with urgent needs, limited time, and access to noble resources. More importantly, you might actually be able to help. Through your careful observations of local agricultural production, you know where premium grain might be found. The merchant departs after promising to send word if he discovers alternative sources, but his defeated manner suggests little hope. Edmund remains, staring at the ground and muttering calculations under his breath. This is your moment, the chance to transform months of preparation into action. Approaching a Lord Steward requires careful protocol. Too bold, and he might take offence at a peasant's presumption. Too humble, and he might not take you seriously as a potential solution to his crisis. You've watched enough interactions between classes to understand the delicate balance required. "Begging your pardon, my lord," you say, using the respectful address while stepping into his line of sight. "I couldn't help overhearing your difficulty with grain supplies." Edmund looks up sharply, his expression shifting from distraction to irritation. "What business is it of yours, peasant?" "None, my lord, except that I might know where such grain could be found quickly." You keep your voice steady, respectful, but confident. Quality grain, properly stored, available for immediate transport. His irritation transforms into interest, though he tries to hide it. "You speak of grain you've seen, or grain you've heard about?" This is the crucial moment. Your answer will determine whether this conversation leads to opportunity or punishment for wasting a noble's time. "Grain I've examined personally, my lord. Master William in Ashford has been holding his premium wheat for better prices. His granary contains exactly the quality your kitchens would require, properly dried and free from spoilage." The truth is more complex. You know Master William has premium grain because you helped him assess its quality 3 weeks ago, trading labour for information about his storage methods and pricing plans. You also know he's been struggling to find buyers willing to pay his asking prices, making him potentially receptive to negotiations. Edmund studies your face carefully, looking for signs of deception or desperation. "And you believe this Master William would sell immediately, at reasonable terms?" "I believe he could be persuaded, my lord, especially if approached properly." You pause, choosing your next words carefully. Such negotiations often require someone who understands both the seller's position and the buyer's needs. You're offering to serve as intermediary, the role that could transform this crisis into profit. But you're doing so subtly, allowing Edmund to reach the conclusion himself, rather than appearing to push for personal advantage. What do you know of grain quality? He asks, testing your claimed expertise. Can you distinguish premium wheat from common grades? This question allows you to demonstrate the knowledge you've been accumulating. Premium wheat should be golden in colour, with plump kernels that break cleanly when bitten. No musty odour, no signs of weevil damage, and proper dryness. It should flow freely through the fingers without clumping. The best flour comes from grain that's been properly stored in cool, dry conditions immediately after harvest. Edmund nods slowly. Your answer demonstrates genuine understanding, not the casual claims of someone hoping to profit from his desperation. And barley? Oats? You describe the characteristics of quality grades in each type of grain. Information gathered through months of market observations and careful questioning of knowledgeable producers. With each accurate detail, you see Edmund's assessment of you shifting from skeptical to interested to potentially hopeful. If I were to send you to negotiate with this Master William, he says finally, what assurance do I have that you wouldn't simply disappear with any coins I provide for purchase? The question reveals both opportunity and danger. He's seriously considering your proposal, but he's also testing your honesty and commitment. Your answer must address his legitimate concerns while positioning you as trustworthy and competent. Send no coins, my lord, you suggest. Let me arrange to bring samples of the grain here for your examination. If quality meets your requirements, I can negotiate terms for delivery directly to your kitchens, payment after delivery, and approval. This proposal shifts risk away from Edmund while demonstrating your confidence in both the grain quality and your negotiation abilities. It also reveals your understanding of how medieval business relationships function. Trust must be earned through performance, not promised in advance. How quickly? Edmund asks, and you know you've succeeded in capturing his serious interest. I can reach Ashford today, examine the grain stores, and return tomorrow with samples. If you approve the quality, full delivery could be completed the day after, still allowing time for your kitchen preparations. Edmund considers this timeline, calculating against his feast requirements. The timing is tight but possible, and you've demonstrated enough specific knowledge to make success seem likely rather than merely hopeful. Your name? He inquires. Thomas, my lord, son of Robert the Ploughman. Very well, Thomas. Bring samples tomorrow at midday. If the quality proves acceptable, we'll discuss terms for full delivery. He pauses, his expression becoming stern. Understand that failure would be poorly received. Lord Mortimer's displeasure extends beyond simple disappointment. The warning is clear. Success could launch your commercial career, but failure might result in punishment that could affect your family's standing in the community. Yet this is exactly the kind of calculated risk that separates potential merchants from perpetual peasants. I understand completely, my lord. You'll have your samples tomorrow, and they'll meet your highest standards. Edmund nods curtly and rides away, leaving you standing behind the smithy with shaking hands and racing pulse. In the space of 10 minutes, you've committed to a transaction that could change your family's future or destroy it completely. The walk home passes in a blur of planning and calculation. You have less than 24 hours to travel to Ashford, locate Master William, negotiate for premium grain samples, and return to Thornfield. More challenging, you must do so while maintaining your regular responsibilities and not alarming your family about your absence. That evening, you tell your wife you've been hired to help repair flood damage at a farm in the next village. Work that will require staying overnight but promise good payment. The lie comes easier than you expected, justified by the potential benefits to your family's future. Before dawn, you're on the road to Ashford, carrying your hidden savings and the most important gamble of your life. Success will prove that careful preparation and bold action can overcome the circumstances of birth. Failure will confirm what everyone already knows. Peasants should accept their station and leave commerce to their betters. Either way, by tomorrow evening, you'll know whether you have the courage and capability to pursue the merchant's life you've been dreaming of, or whether those dreams were nothing more than the fantasies of an overambitious peasant. The 6-mile walk to Ashford gives you time to rehearse your approach to Master William, but nothing can completely prepare you for the complexity of your first real commercial negotiation. Medieval trade operates according to unwritten rules that peasants rarely encounter, protocols of respect, demonstrations of reliability, and the delicate balance between eagerness and desperation that determines whether negotiations succeed or fail. Master William's farm occupies prime agricultural land on the outskirts of Ashford, with stone granaries that speak of prosperity accumulated over generations. Unlike your family's modest cottage, with its single room and dirt floor, his house features multiple chambers, glazed windows, and a separate kitchen building that suggests wealth beyond peasant imagination. You find him supervising the repair of a cart in his courtyard, directing 2 servants with the casual authority of someone accustomed to command. Your approach requires careful timing, too sudden, and you might startle him into suspicion, too hesitant, and you might appear weak or uncertain. Master William? You inquire respectfully, removing your cap and waiting for his acknowledgement. I'm Thomas, from Thornfield. I assisted with your grain assessment several weeks ago. His expression shifts from mild annoyance at the interruption to recognition, then curiosity. He remembers you as the unusual peasant who demonstrated unexpected knowledge about grain quality and storage techniques. Ah yes, Robert's son, the one who knew about moisture testing and weevil prevention. Yes, my lord. I come today with a proposition that might interest you, an opportunity to sell premium grain at favourable terms. The word sounds strange in your mouth, but you've practiced this phrasing during the long walk. Proposition suggests partnership rather than desperate begging. Favourable terms implies mutual benefit rather than one-sided advantage. Every word has been chosen to position you as a serious participant in commercial discussion rather than a peasant seeking charity. Master William gestures toward a wooden bench beside his granary. Speak your proposition, Thomas, but understand that I've heard many offers recently, none of which justified the quality of my stores. This comment reveals valuable information. 12. He's been actively seeking buyers, but hasn't found terms that satisfy him. Your negotiation should emphasize not just payment, but appreciation for the superior quality he's maintained through careful agricultural practices. Lord Mortimer's household requires premium grain for an important feast, you explain. 40 bushels of the finest wheat, plus barley and oats, needed for ceremonial breads and ales. The steward emphasizes that quality cannot be compromised. The bishop will attend, along with representatives from several lordships. Master William's interest sharpens visibly. Noble households represent the ideal customers for premium agricultural products. They pay well, promptly, and without the haggling that characterizes most peasant transactions. More importantly, successful service to nobility often leads to ongoing relationships that provide steady markets for superior goods. Quality requirements? He asks, testing your understanding of the specifications. Golden wheat with plump, clean kernels. No spoilage, proper dryness, suitable for the finest white flour. Similar standards for barley and oats, only premium grades acceptable for noble consumption. Your accurate description of quality requirements demonstrates that you're not simply carrying messages between parties, but actually understand the technical aspects of what you're proposing. This knowledge elevates you from mere messenger to potential commercial partner. Timeline? Master William continues. Samples needed tomorrow at midday for steward's approval. Full delivery the following day if terms are acceptable. The tight timeline works in your favor. Urgency often motivates better pricing, and Master William's premium grain has been waiting for exactly this type of high-value opportunity. And your role in these arrangements? He asks, reaching the crucial question that will determine your potential profit from this transaction. This is where your preparation during the walk proves valuable. You've considered several approaches, from simple finder's fee to full merchant partnership, weighing the benefits and risks of each possibility. I propose to coordinate the transaction, you explain carefully. I'll transport samples for approval, negotiate final terms between parties, and supervise delivery to ensure quality standards are maintained. In exchange, I request a commission based on successful completion. The proposal positions you as essential to the transaction's success while avoiding specific discussion of commission percentages. Medieval negotiations often begin with general principles before proceeding to detailed financial arrangements. Master William considers your proposal silently, calculating the potential benefits against the costs of working with an untested intermediary. His premium grain has been waiting for premium pricing, but he lacks direct connections to noble households that might pay accordingly. Your offer provides access to exactly the market he's been seeking. What commission do you consider appropriate? He asks finally. This is the moment that will determine your financial gain from the transaction. Too high, and he might reject your services. Too low, and you'll establish a precedent that limits future opportunities. Your research into typical medieval commercial arrangements suggests that intermediary commissions range from 5 to 15%, depending on complexity and risk. 10% of the total transaction value, you suggest, reflecting the specialized nature of serving noble requirements and the tight timeline involved. Master William nods slowly. The percentage is reasonable by medieval standards, especially considering the access to noble customers that you're providing. More importantly, your willingness to tie your compensation to successful completion demonstrates confidence in your ability to deliver results. Very well, he agrees. 10% commission upon successful delivery and payment. But understand, Thomas, if this transaction fails due to your inadequacy, word will spread throughout the region. Commercial reputation, once damaged, proves almost impossible to repair. The warning is serious. Medieval commercial relationships depend heavily on trust and reliability. A single significant failure could prevent you from ever again participating in substantial transactions. But success could establish your reputation as someone capable of managing complex negotiations between different social levels. I understand completely, Master William. You'll have no cause for disappointment. The next hour is spent examining grain samples, with Master William testing your ability to identify the premium qualities his stores contain. He shows you wheat kernels that break cleanly when bitten, grain that flows freely through fingers without any hint of moisture or spoilage, and oats with the golden colour that indicates proper harvesting and storage techniques. You select samples representing the best of each grain type, carefully wrapping them in clean cloth for transport back to Thornfield. These samples must demonstrate not just adequate quality, but the superior standards that justify premium pricing for noble consumption. As you prepare to depart, Master William provides final instructions about delivery logistics, payment expectations, and quality guarantees. The complexity of arrangements confirms what you've suspected. Medieval commerce involves far more than simple buying and selling. Successful merchants must coordinate multiple parties, manage various risks, and ensure that all participants achieve their objectives. The walk home carries different energy than your morning journey. Instead of nervous anticipation, you feel the weight of responsibility and opportunity. In your cloth-wrapped bundle, you carry samples that could launch your commercial career or confirm that your ambitions exceeded your capabilities. Tomorrow's meeting with Edmund the steward will test everything you've learned about medieval commercial relationships. Success will prove that careful preparation and bold action can overcome humble origins. More immediately, it will provide your first real profit from commercial activity, money earned through knowledge and negotiation rather than physical labour. By the time you reach Thornfield, the sun is setting behind the manor house on the hill. Tomorrow, if your calculations prove correct, you'll be conducting business not as a peasant seeking employment, but as a merchant providing essential services to noble households. The transformation may be temporary, but it represents the first step toward the commercial career you've been planning in secret for months. Your family welcomes you home with curiosity about your day's work, but you deflect their questions with vague comments about farm repairs and delayed payment. The samples hidden in your bundle represent secrets that must be carefully guarded until tomorrow's negotiation determines whether your commercial ambitions have any foundation in reality. Tonight, you'll review every detail of tomorrow's presentation, preparing for the meeting that could change your family's future forever. You arrive at Lord Mortimer's manor precisely at midday, your heart hammering against your ribs, but your external demeanour carefully composed. The cloth bundle containing grain samples feels impossibly heavy as you approach the main gate, where armed guards scrutinise every visitor with professional suspicion. Medieval manor houses operate under constant awareness of potential threats, and unexpected peasants requesting audience with household officials typically face immediate dismissal. "State your business," commands the senior guard, a scarred veteran whose hand rests casually on his sword hilt. Thomas of Thornfield, expected by Steward Edmund regarding grain supplies for the feast, you reply, keeping your voice steady and respectful. The phrasing is crucial. You're not begging for audience, but fulfilling a scheduled appointment, positioning yourself as expected rather than presumptuous. The guard's expression shifts slightly as he recognizes your name from Edmund's instructions. "Wait here," he orders, disappearing into the gatehouse to verify your appointment. Medieval household security operates through careful protocols. No one enters without proper authorization, regardless of their stated business or apparent harmlessness. During the brief wait, you observe the manor's bustling preparations for tomorrow's feast. Servants carry supplies between buildings, kitchen smoke rises from multiple chimneys, and the organized chaos of major event planning fills the courtyard. The scale of activity confirms Edmund's earlier desperation. 1. This feast represents significant political and social obligations that cannot be compromised by supply failures. "Follow me," the guard returns, leading you through courtyards and corridors that display wealth beyond peasant imagination. Tapestries depicting noble hunting scenes cover stone walls, braziers provide warmth against autumn chill, and glazed windows filter sunlight into patterns of coloured light. This is the world your commercial ambitions hope to access, not as visitor or servant, but as trusted supplier of essential goods and services. Edmund receives you in a small chamber adjacent to the manor's great hall, where tables are already being arranged for tomorrow's celebration. His manner combines professional courtesy with underlying tension. You represent potential solution to his crisis, but also risk if your promised samples prove inadequate. The grain samples, he states without preamble, extending his hand expectantly. You unwrap the cloth bundle with practiced care, arranging each grain type in separate piles on the wooden table between you. Master William's premium wheat gleams golden in the chamber's light, each kernel plump and uniform. The barley displays the pale perfection that indicates proper harvesting and storage, while the oats show the clean, sweet appearance that characterizes superior quality. Edmund examines each sample with the expertise of someone responsible for provisioning noble households. He tests kernels between his teeth, checking for proper hardness and absence of spoilage. He rubs grain between his palms, assessing moisture content and freedom from foreign matter. His examination is thorough and professional. Your samples must pass rigorous standards to satisfy his requirements. Quality appears acceptable, he acknowledges finally. Pricing and delivery terms? This is the crucial negotiation that will determine your profit margins and establish precedent for future transactions. Your success depends on balancing Master William's pricing expectations with Edmund's budgetary constraints, while ensuring adequate commission for your intermediary services. Premium wheat at 8 pence per bushel, reflecting superior quality and urgent timeline, you begin, stating Master William's pricing with the confidence of someone who understands market values. Barley at 6 pence per bushel, oats at 4 pence per bushel. All prices include delivery to your kitchens with quality guaranteed. Edmund calculates quickly, his expression revealing the internal tension between quality requirements and budgetary realities. Noble households maintain careful financial accounting, and stewards face consequences for wasteful expenditures, just as they do for inadequate provisions. 7 pence for wheat, he counters, 5 for barley, 3 for oats, delivered and approved tomorrow morning. The negotiation has begun in earnest. Your response must demonstrate commercial sophistication while protecting the profit margins that make this transaction worthwhile for both Master William and yourself. Medieval bargaining operates through careful incremental adjustments rather than dramatic concessions. 7 and 6 pence for wheat, reflecting the premium quality and urgent delivery requirements you propose. 5 and 6 for barley, 3 and 6 for oats. These prices acknowledge both quality standards and timeline constraints. The halfpenny adjustments represent typical medieval commercial negotiations, where small incremental changes allow both parties to feel they've achieved reasonable terms. Your counter-proposal reduces your requested pricing while maintaining margins that satisfy Master William's expectations. Edmund considers the revised pricing against his household's requirements and available budget. The amounts, while significant by peasant standards, represent reasonable expenses for a feast that must demonstrate Lord Mortimer's wealth and hospitality to important guests. Acceptable, he decides. 7 and 6 pence per bushel for wheat, 5 and 6 for barley, 3 and 6 for oats. Full delivery by dawn tomorrow, with payment upon kitchen master's approval of quality. Your first major commercial negotiation has succeeded. The total transaction value, over £4 sterling, exceeds what most peasant families see in 2 years of agricultural labour. Your 10% commission will provide more immediate wealth than months of farming, while establishing your reputation as someone capable of managing complex supply arrangements. Delivery will be completed as agreed, you confirm, maintaining professional composure despite internal excitement. The kitchen master will find all grain meets the highest standards for noble consumption. Edmund nods and extends his hand in the gesture that seals medieval commercial agreements. Your handshake commits both parties to the negotiated terms, with failure to perform carrying serious consequences for future commercial relationships. One additional matter, Edmund adds, as you prepare to depart. If this delivery succeeds to our satisfaction, Lord Mortimer's household will require regular suppliers for various goods. Quality providers earn ongoing consideration for such arrangements. The implication is clear. Success in this transaction could lead to steady commercial relationships with noble households, the foundation for sustained merchant activity. Your careful approach to this first opportunity has positioned you not just for immediate profit, but for potential long-term commercial advancement. You bow respectfully and depart, your mind already racing through the logistics required to coordinate tomorrow's delivery. Master William must be notified of the agreed terms, transportation arranged for the substantial grain quantities, and quality controls maintained throughout the delivery process. The walk back to Ashford passes in a blur of planning and calculation. Your first real commercial negotiation has exceeded your most optimistic expectations, but success now depends on flawless execution of the complex delivery arrangements you've promised. By evening, you've confirmed all details with Master William, arranged for carts and drivers, and established the timeline that will deliver premium grain to Lord Mortimer's kitchens exactly as promised. Your careful preparation over recent months has culminated in this moment, the transition from peasant dreaming of commerce to merchant responsible for significant transactions. Tomorrow, we'll test whether your preparation and ambition can deliver the results you've promised. Success will establish your commercial reputation and provide capital for larger ventures. Failure will end your merchant aspirations before they truly begin. Either way, you've crossed a threshold that cannot be uncrossed. You're no longer simply a peasant with commercial dreams, but a merchant with real responsibilities to noble clients who expect professional performance regardless of your humble origins. The pre-dawn darkness feels different as you oversee the loading of grain carts at Master William's farm. Instead of rising to another day of peasant labour, you're directing your first major commercial operation of coordinating drivers, inspecting cargo, and ensuring that every detail meets the exacting standards promised to Lord Mortimer's household. Master William personally supervises the selection of each bushel, his reputation as much at stake as your own in this crucial delivery. Medieval agricultural producers understand that consistent quality creates long-term relationships with premium buyers, while any significant failure can permanently damage commercial prospects. Remember, he instructs the lead driver, these supplies go directly to the manor's kitchens. Handle them as carefully as you would transport gold coins. Your reputation and mine depend on perfect condition upon arrival. The 3 loaded carts begin their slow journey to Thornfield as dawn breaks across the countryside. You ride alongside the lead cart, simultaneously nervous about potential problems and excited about the success that seems increasingly certain. The grain quality is exemplary, the timing perfect, and Edmund's urgent need makes successful completion highly likely. At Thornfield Manor, kitchen servants are already preparing for the day's intensive cooking that will produce tomorrow's feast. The arrival of your grain carts creates immediate activity as Edmund directs their positioning for efficient unloading, and the kitchen master emerges to inspect the delivered supplies. Master Geoffrey, the kitchen master, examines your grain with the critical expertise of someone responsible for feeding noble palates. He tests samples from multiple bushels, checking for consistency across the entire delivery. His approval is essential not just for payment, but for establishing your reputation as a reliable supplier of premium goods. Quality is exceptional, he announces finally, his professional satisfaction evident, consistent across all varieties, properly stored, suitable for the finest preparations. This grain will produce breads and ales worthy of the bishop's table. Edmund's relief is palpable as he authorises payment according to your negotiated terms. The silver coins that change hands represent more money than you've ever possessed. Over £4 sterling for the total transaction, with 10 shillings designated as your commission. 10 shillings. The amount exceeds your family's total cash income from the previous year. More importantly, it represents money earned through commercial knowledge and negotiation skills rather than physical labour. This profit proves that your months of preparation and careful study of medieval trade have created genuine value. Excellent work, Thomas. Edmund acknowledges as he counts your commission into your waiting hands. Lord Mortimer's household will remember this reliable service. We may have additional opportunities for quality suppliers in future. The promise of ongoing commercial relationships transforms this single transaction from isolated success into potential foundation for sustained merchant activity. Noble households require steady supplies of various goods, and proven reliability creates preferred supplier status that generates consistent profits. Your return journey to collect the empty carts and settle accounts with Master William passes in a euphoric haze. You've successfully completed your first major commercial transaction, earned significant profit, and established relationships that could support ongoing business activities. The merchant career you've been dreaming of has moved from aspiration to reality. Master William greets you with satisfaction equal to your own. The successful delivery to Lord Mortimer's household has provided him with exactly the premium market access he's been seeking, while demonstrating your value as commercial intermediary. Well done, Thomas, he says, as you settle the financial arrangements. This transaction proves that quality agriculture deserves quality marketing. I expect we'll find additional opportunities for collaboration. The implications are clear. Master William sees you as potential ongoing partner for accessing noble markets that require his premium products but lie beyond his social reach. Your intermediary role creates value for both parties while generating profits that could support expanding commercial activities. The walk home to your family's cottage carries different energy than any previous return from work. Instead of exhaustion from physical labour, you feel the satisfaction of successful negotiation and the weight of silver coins that represent genuine wealth. Your hidden savings have increased dramatically, providing capital for larger commercial ventures. More importantly, you've proven to yourself that careful preparation and bold action can overcome the circumstances of birth. You've conducted business with noble households, negotiated complex transactions, and delivered results that satisfy demanding clients. The merchant identity you've been developing in secret has demonstrated its viability through actual commercial success. Your family welcomes you home with curiosity about your extended absence and obvious satisfaction. Your wife Margaret notices the change in your manner immediately. The confidence that comes from successful completion of challenging objectives, the quiet pride of achievement, and subtle signs of prosperity that careful observation reveals. Your work went well, she asks, her tone suggesting awareness that something significant has occurred. Very well, you reply carefully, not yet ready to reveal the full extent of your commercial activities. Good payment for services provided, and possibility of additional work in future. That evening, as your family settles into their normal routines, you carefully add your commission to the growing cache of coins hidden beneath the cottage floorboards. The total now approaches £6, a substantial sum that opens possibilities for expanded commercial activities, better equipment, or investment in larger transactions. More significantly, you've established your credibility as someone capable of managing complex commercial arrangements. Edmund's promise of future opportunities with Lord Mortimer's household, combined with Master William's interest in ongoing collaboration, provides foundation for developing systematic merchant activities rather than depending on occasional, isolated transactions. Your success has also attracted attention from other members of the local commercial community. Word spreads quickly in medieval villages, and your successful coordination of premium grain delivery has been noticed by other potential clients and partners. Several neighbouring farmers have approached you informally, inquiring about your ability to help them access better markets for their products. This growing network of relationships represents the foundation of medieval merchant success. Unlike modern commerce that can depend on advertising and impersonal transactions, medieval trade operates through personal relationships, proven reliability, and word-of-mouth recommendations. Your successful completion of this first major transaction has established your place in these networks. As you lie on your straw pallet that night, listening to your family's peaceful breathing, you realize that everything has changed. You're no longer a peasant who dreams of commerce. You're a merchant who happens to live like a peasant while building the capital and relationships necessary for larger ventures. Your first real profit has proven that medieval England offers opportunities for those bold enough to seize them, knowledgeable enough to execute them successfully, and patient enough to build the relationships that sustain long-term commercial success. The transformation you've been working toward has begun in earnest. Tomorrow will bring new opportunities, new challenges, and new steps toward the merchant empire you've begun to envision. But tonight, you sleep with the satisfaction of genuine achievement and the weight of silver coins that represent not just money, but proof that ambition, supported by preparation, can overcome any circumstance of birth. Success in medieval commerce creates its own momentum, attracting opportunities faster than you anticipated. Word of your efficient handling of Lord Mortimer's grain supply has spread through the informal networks that connect producers, consumers, and intermediaries across 3 counties. Your reputation as someone who can bridge the gap between agricultural surplus and noble demand has opened doors you hardly dared imagine. This morning brings your 4th commercial inquiry in as many days. Master Robert, the most prosperous cloth producer in the region, seeks someone with your demonstrated connections to arrange premium fabric sales for upcoming noble weddings and celebrations. Unlike your initial desperate approach to grain trading, this opportunity arrives because clients seek your services specifically. The difficulty, Master Robert explains, as you examine his finest woolen cloth in his workshop, lies not in production quality, but in accessing customers who appreciate superior workmanship and can afford appropriate pricing. His workshop demonstrates the prosperity available to skilled craftsmen who serve luxury markets. Stone walls replace wooden ones, glazed windows provide excellent light for detailed work, and apprentices operate sophisticated looms that produce cloth of extraordinary quality. Yet despite this prosperity, he faces the same challenge that confronts all medieval producers, connecting superior goods with customers willing to pay accordingly. Noble households require extensive fabric supplies for major celebrations, you observe, drawing on intelligence gathered during recent market visits. Lady Margaret's daughter marries next month, requiring not just wedding garments, but household textiles for entertaining guests. Sir Geoffrey's son returns from university, necessitating appropriate clothing for his new station. Master Robert nods approvingly. Your specific knowledge of noble family events demonstrates the kind of commercial intelligence that creates successful transactions. Medieval luxury markets operate on relationships and timing, knowing which families need what goods when they possess resources to pay premium prices. Exactly the opportunities I seek, he confirms. But approaching noble households directly proves challenging for someone of my station. They prefer to conduct business through intermediaries who understand both commercial and social protocols. The conversation follows patterns you're learning to recognize in medieval commerce. Producers possess skills and goods. Consumers have needs and resources, but social barriers often prevent direct connection between parties. Successful merchants create value by bridging these gaps, facilitating transactions that might not otherwise occur. Your role in such arrangements has evolved beyond simple message carrying to comprehensive commercial coordination. You research market opportunities, negotiate pricing and terms, arrange transportation and delivery, and ensure that all parties achieve their objectives. Each successful transaction strengthens your reputation while generating profits that support expanding activities. I can arrange introductions to several households currently planning major celebrations you propose. Lady Margaret Stewart mentioned their fabric requirements during our recent grain delivery. Sir Geoffrey's household manager inquired about quality textile sources when I delivered supplies last week. These connections represent the cumulative value of your recent commercial successes. Each satisfied client provides access to their network of contacts, creating expanding opportunities for future business. Medieval commerce operates heavily on personal recommendations and proven reliability. Master Robert's interest intensifies as you describe specific opportunities and your existing relationships with potential buyers. Unlike your earlier desperation to find any commercial opening, you now possess genuine, valuable connections that multiple producers seek to access. What arrangements do you propose? He asks, reaching the crucial discussion of terms and compensation. Comprehensive commercial coordination, you reply, using language that positions your services professionally. Market research to identify optimal opportunities. Direct negotiation with household stewards and purchasing agents. Arrangement of all delivery logistics and quality guarantees throughout the process. Commission of 12% on completed transactions, reflecting the specialized nature of luxury market access. The higher commission rate compared to your grain transaction reflects both your improved position and the greater complexity of luxury goods marketing. Premium textiles require more sophisticated sales presentations, longer negotiation processes, and higher standards of customer service than basic agricultural commodities. 12% is substantial, Master Robert observes, though his tone suggests negotiation rather than rejection. Luxury markets justify premium service costs, you respond, confident in your value proposition. My established relationships with noble households provide access that individual producers cannot achieve independently. Quality connections produce quality results which justify appropriate compensation. This negotiation demonstrates how your commercial sophistication has developed over recent weeks. Instead of desperate acceptance of whatever terms others might offer, you now possess sufficient leverage to propose pricing that reflects your genuine value to potential partners. Very well, Master Robert agrees after brief consideration. 12% commission on completed luxury transactions. But understand, fabric sales to noble households require impeccable presentation and service standards. Any failure reflects on both our reputations permanently. The agreement represents another significant step in your commercial development. Master Robert's textiles command prices that make your grain transactions seem modest by comparison. A successful luxury fabric sale could generate commission income exceeding 20 shillings, more than most peasants earn in 2 years of agricultural labour. Your afternoon is spent examining Master Robert's premium inventory, learning about quality grades and production techniques that determine pricing in luxury markets. Medieval textile production involves complex processes that create substantial value, tintes, from selecting superior wool through sophisticated weaving techniques to finishing treatments that produce exceptional softness and durability. This cloth, Master Robert explains, displaying a length of deep blue wool that seems to glow in the workshop's light, requires premium fleeces from young sheep, processed with imported dyes, and woven using techniques that produce exceptional drape and longevity. Production costs alone exceed what most families spend on clothing in 5 years. You study the fabric carefully, learning to recognize the subtle characteristics that justify premium pricing. The knowledge will prove essential when presenting these goods to noble clients who expect commercial representatives to understand the technical superiority they're purchasing. Your education in luxury textile marketing continues through the afternoon, covering presentation techniques, pricing strategies, and customer service standards that luxury buyers expect. Master Robert's instruction proves invaluable preparation for accessing markets that operate according to different principles than the basic commodity transactions that launched your commercial career. By evening, you've arranged to begin marketing Master Robert's premium textiles to 3 noble households, planning major celebrations within the next 2 months. The potential transaction values could generate more profit than your previous agricultural deals combined, while establishing your reputation in luxury goods markets. The walk home carries familiar excitement, the anticipation of challenging negotiations, substantial profits, and expanding commercial relationships. Each successful transaction has increased your confidence, improved your skills, and broadened your network of potential partners and clients. Your hidden savings now approach £8 representing more wealth than your family has ever possessed, while providing capital for increasingly ambitious ventures. More importantly, your reputation as reliable commercial intermediary has begun attracting opportunities rather than requiring desperate pursuit of reluctant partners. Tonight, you'll study the notes you've accumulated about noble family celebrations, reviewing which households need what goods when they possess resources for premium purchases. Medieval luxury commerce operates on timing and relationships. The success requires understanding both what clients need and when they're most motivated to pay accordingly. Your commercial transformation continues accelerating, each success creating new opportunities for larger ventures. The merchant career you've been building through careful preparation and calculated risks has gained genuine momentum, supported by proven results and expanding networks of satisfied clients. Tomorrow will bring new negotiations, new challenges, and new steps toward the commercial empire you're systematically constructing one successful transaction at a time. Your presentation to Lady Margaret's household represents everything you've learned about medieval luxury commerce. Unlike the desperate urgency of your first grain transaction, this negotiation combines careful preparation, established relationships, and genuine expertise in premium goods marketing. You're no longer a peasant hoping to stumble into commerce, but a merchant with proven capabilities serving sophisticated clients. Lady Margaret's solar, her private chamber for conducting personal business, displays wealth that still impresses despite your growing familiarity with noble surroundings. Tapestries depicting classical scenes cover stone walls. A fire of seasoned wood warms the space without smoke, and glazed windows provide clear light for examining fine textiles. The chamber itself communicates standards that your goods and services must match. Master Thomas, Lady Margaret greets you with the respect accorded to proven suppliers. Edmund speaks highly of your grain delivery for our recent feast. The kitchen master pronounced your supplies exceptional quality. The reference to your previous success demonstrates how medieval commercial relationships build on accumulated reputation. Each satisfied transaction creates foundation for larger opportunities, while any significant failure can permanently damage future prospects. Thank you, my lady. I strive to provide only goods that meet the highest standards. You bow appropriately while maintaining the confident bearing that successful merchants develop. Today, I bring textiles that I believe will interest you for Lady Catherine's wedding preparations. You carefully unwrap Master Robert's premium fabrics, displaying them to maximum advantage in the solar's excellent light. The deep blue wool gleams like captured midnight, while golden thread woven through its pattern catches fire in the sunlight. Beside it, cream-coloured silk, imported from distant lands, flows like liquid luxury, and forest green wool demonstrates the subtle sophistication that marks superior craftsmanship. Lady Margaret examines each fabric with the expertise of someone accustomed to luxury goods. She tests the wool's softness between her fingers, holds silk to the light to assess its weave quality, and evaluates the consistency of dye colours that will determine how well finished garments maintain their appearance. Quality appears exceptional, she acknowledges. Source and pricing? Master Robert of Ashford, whose workshop produces textiles exclusively for noble households, you explain, providing provenance that establishes credibility. These fabrics utilize premium wool from young sheep processed with imported dyes, using techniques that ensure longevity and color retention. Pricing reflects both material costs and sophisticated production methods. Your description emphasizes quality justifications for premium pricing rather than simply stating costs. Luxury buyers understand that superior goods command higher prices, but they expect detailed explanations of what creates that superiority. Specific pricing? Lady Margaret inquires, reaching the crucial negotiation phase. The blue wool at 15 shillings per yard, reflecting imported dyes and specialised weaving techniques. You begin, stating Master Robert's pricing, with confidence earned through successful previous negotiations. Silk at 22 shillings per yard, acknowledging foreign sourcing and exceptional quality. Green wool at 12 shillings per yard, representing premium domestic production. The amounts would seem astronomical to peasant families, but they represent reasonable costs for luxury textiles that will create garments lasting decades, while displaying the wealth and status that noble families require for important occasions. Lady Margaret calculates mentally, considering fabric requirements against available resources. Noble weddings require extensive textile purchases, not just bride's clothing, but household decorations, guest accommodations, and gifts that demonstrate family prosperity and generosity. Quantity requirements are substantial, she observes. Catherine's wedding will host over 200 guests, requiring appropriate display throughout our residence. Bulk purchases should merit pricing consideration. Her comment opens negotiations while acknowledging the transaction's potential scale. Medieval luxury sales often involve substantial quantities that justify volume pricing adjustments while maintaining profit margins adequate for all parties. 25 yards of blue wool, 15 of silk, 35 of green wool, you propose, estimating requirements based on your growing understanding of noble celebration needs. Total quantity merits reduced pricing. 14 shillings for blue wool, 20 shillings for silk, 11 shillings for green wool. The proposed quantities represent your largest single textile transaction, with total value approaching £20 sterling. Your commission alone would exceed £2, more immediate wealth than most merchants accumulate in successful years of operation. Terms appear reasonable. Lady Margaret agrees after brief consideration. Delivery timeline? 2 weeks for complete delivery. allowing adequate time for garment construction and household preparations, you reply, having confirmed production schedules with Master Robert during your preparation for this negotiation. Acceptable. Payment upon delivery and approval of quality. Lady Margaret extends her hand in the gesture that seals medieval commercial agreements. Understand that wedding preparations allow no margin for error, and quality and timing must be perfect. Your handshake commits you to delivering exactly what you've promised, when you've promised it, at the quality standards expected by noble clients planning major celebrations. The stakes are higher than any previous transaction, but so are the potential rewards for successful completion. The return journey to Master Robert's workshop passes in excited planning for coordination of this substantial order. Your success in luxury textile marketing has exceeded optimistic expectations, establishing your reputation in premium goods markets while generating profits that support increasingly ambitious commercial activities. Master Robert greets news of your successful negotiation with satisfaction equal to your own. The substantial order provides him with exactly the kind of premium market access that justifies his sophisticated production methods, while demonstrating your value as commercial intermediary. Excellent work, Thomas, he acknowledges as you review delivery requirements and quality specifications. This transaction establishes our collaboration in luxury markets while proving your capabilities with demanding clients. The next 2 weeks require careful coordination of production schedules, quality controls, and delivery logistics that ensure perfect execution of your promises to Lady Margaret. Medieval luxury commerce allows no margin for error. Satisfied clients become lifetime sources of profitable business, while any significant failure permanently damages commercial prospects. Your successful completion of this substantial textile transaction will prove that your commercial capabilities extend beyond basic commodity trading to sophisticated luxury goods marketing. The profits will provide capital for larger ventures, while establishing relationships that support sustained growth in premium market sectors. More importantly, this transaction represents another step toward the merchant empire you've been systematically constructing through careful preparation, calculated risks, and consistent delivery of superior service to demanding clients. Your transformation from peasant dreamer to established merchant continues accelerating with each successful negotiation. The messenger arrives at dawn with news that will either make your fortune or destroy everything you've built. King Edward requires immediate supply contracts for military campaigns in Scotland, and Lord Mortimer has recommended your services to the Royal Purchasing Commissioners. The scale dwarfs anything you've previously attempted, not dozens of pounds sterling, but hundreds, with risks and rewards that could transform your family's circumstances permanently. Sir Geoffrey Whitmore, the King's Chief Procurement Officer, receives you in Lord Mortimer's Great Hall with the businesslike efficiency of someone managing enormous logistical operations. Maps cover the massive oak table, marked with troop movements, supply lines, and strategic positions that represent the kingdom's military ambitions. Your role in these grand schemes seems impossibly small, yet the coins at stake could exceed your family's total earnings across multiple generations. Master Thomas, Sir Geoffrey greets you with the respect accorded to proven suppliers, though his manner carries urgency that suggests limited time for lengthy negotiations. Lord Mortimer speaks favourably of your reliability with complex supply arrangements. The King's army requires substantial provisions, delivered according to strict schedules with no tolerance for failure. The reputation built through successful grain and textile transactions has reached royal attention, opening opportunities beyond anything you previously imagined possible. Yet the stakes involved make your earlier commercial risks seem trivial by comparison. I am at His Majesty's service, you reply, with careful formality, understanding that military supply contracts operate according to protocols far more demanding than civilian commerce. Sir Geoffrey spreads detailed documents across the table, revealing the staggering scope of military supply requirements. 2,000 soldiers require provisions for a 3-month campaign. Grain, preserved meats, leather goods, weapons maintenance supplies, and various specialised materials. Total contract value approaches £400 sterling. £400. The amount exceeds the annual revenues of minor nobles, representing wealth sufficient to purchase substantial properties or establish permanent commercial enterprises. Your commission, even at reduced military rates, could provide more immediate prosperity than most merchants achieve in lifetimes of successful trading. Delivery requirements are absolute, Sir Geoffrey continues, his tone emphasizing the serious consequences of failure. Military operations depend on precise timing. Early delivery wastes resources through spoilage. Late delivery compromises strategic objectives. Either failure results in severe consequences for responsible suppliers. The warning is unmistakable. Military supply contracts offer extraordinary profits balanced by extraordinary risks. Success could establish your position among England's most prosperous merchants. Failure could result in financial ruin, imprisonment, or worse punishments reserved for those who compromise royal military operations. I understand completely, Sir Geoffrey. Military requirements demand military precision in execution. Your response demonstrates the professional competence that military purchasing officers expect from civilian suppliers. Unlike commercial negotiations that allow flexibility and adjustment, military contracts require absolute commitment to specified terms without possibility of excuse or mitigation. Specific requirements, Sir Geoffrey begins, consulting detailed lists that represent months of military planning. 800 bushels of grain, wheat, barley, and oats in specified proportions. 300 sides of preserved pork and beef, properly cured to prevent spoilage during transport. 200 leather items, belts, pouches, and equipment repairs. Various specialized supplies, including rope, metalwork, and medical provisions. The complexity exceeds anything you've previously coordinated, requiring management of multiple suppliers, sophisticated logistics, and quality controls that satisfy military standards. Success will require every skill you've developed while pushing your capabilities far beyond current proven limits. Timeline for delivery? You inquire. Though you suspect the answer will be challenging. 6 weeks for complete delivery to designated assembly points, Sir Geoffrey replies. Partial deliveries acceptable according to specified schedules, but final completion must occur precisely on schedule to support planned military movements. 6 weeks to coordinate the largest commercial transaction of your career, involving more suppliers than you've ever managed, simultaneously while maintaining quality standards that could affect military campaign success. The challenge seems overwhelming, yet the potential rewards justify extraordinary efforts. Commission structure for military contracts? You ask, reaching the crucial financial arrangements that will determine your potential profit from this enormous undertaking. 7% of total contract value upon successful completion, Sir Geoffrey states. Reduced from civilian rates due to contract scale and royal service obligations. Payment guaranteed by Royal Treasury upon verified delivery of specified goods in acceptable condition. 7% of £400 equals £28 sterling, more money than your family has seen across generations, sufficient to purchase comfortable properties and establish permanent merchant operations. The amount represents transformation from struggling peasant origins to genuine commercial prosperity. Terms are acceptable, you agree, though your hands shake slightly as you extend them for the handshake that will commit you to this enormous undertaking. His Majesty's Army will receive all specified supplies, exactly as required, when required, at quality standards befitting royal service. Sir Geoffrey's handshake seals the contract that will determine your commercial future. Success will establish your reputation at the highest levels of English commerce, while providing capital for ventures you've barely dared imagine. Failure will end your merchant career permanently, while potentially carrying severe legal consequences. The next 6 weeks will test everything you've learned about medieval commerce while pushing your capabilities to absolute limits. You must coordinate multiple suppliers across several counties, arrange complex transportation logistics, maintain quality controls throughout the supply chain, and ensure perfect timing of deliveries that cannot be adjusted for any circumstances. Your return home that evening carries different energy than previous commercial successes. Instead of excited anticipation, you feel the weight of enormous responsibility, combined with awareness that your family's entire future depends on successful execution of commitments that stretch your proven abilities far beyond comfortable margins. Margaret notices immediately that something significant has occurred. Your manner combines excitement and apprehension in ways that suggest both opportunity and risk at scales she hasn't previously witnessed. "Important business today?" she asks, her tone indicating awareness that major developments have occurred. "Very important," you reply carefully, still not ready to reveal the full scope of your commercial activities. "Work that could change our circumstances substantially, but requires complete concentration for the next several weeks." That night, lying on your straw pallet while your family sleeps peacefully, you review every detail of the enormous undertaking you've committed to complete. The military supply contract represents both the culmination of your commercial development and the greatest test of your merchant capabilities. Success will prove that careful preparation, systematic relationship building, and willingness to accept calculated risks can overcome any circumstances of birth. Your transformation from peasant to merchant will be complete, validated by service to the crown itself. Failure will demonstrate that ambition unsupported by adequate capabilities leads inevitably to disaster. Everything you've built over recent months could be destroyed by inability to execute commitments at the scale and standards required by military operations. Tomorrow begins the most challenging period of your commercial career. The next 6 weeks will determine whether your merchant dreams become permanent reality or catastrophic failure that destroys everything you've worked to achieve. The magnitude of your military supply commitment becomes clear as you begin coordinating the most complex commercial operation of your career. Unlike previous transactions involving single suppliers and straightforward deliveries, this contract requires simultaneous management of 12 different producers across 4 counties with delivery schedules that must align perfectly to support military campaign requirements. Your first challenge involves securing adequate grain supplies without disrupting local food markets or alerting competitors to the scale of your operations. The required quantities exceed the typical output of any single producer, forcing you to develop relationships with multiple farmers while coordinating harvest schedules and storage arrangements across a wide geographic area. Master William's premium grain forms the foundation of your supply network, but even his substantial stores provide only a quarter of your requirements. Through careful negotiation and competitive pricing, you secure additional supplies from 6 other producers, each requiring individual contracts, quality specifications, and delivery schedules that must integrate seamlessly with overall operational timelines. The complexity of these arrangements pushes your organizational skills far beyond previous experience. You maintain detailed written records to practice, unusual among medieval merchants, but essential for managing operations of this scale. Your growing literacy, developed through months of commercial correspondence, proves invaluable for tracking multiple simultaneous commitments. Preserved meat requirements present different challenges, involving specialized producers who understand curing techniques necessary for military field conditions. Unlike grain that remains stable when properly stored, preserved meats require specific processing methods that prevent spoilage during extended transport and storage in military camps. Master John the Butcher, whose workshop produces the region's finest preserved meats, becomes your primary supplier for these specialized requirements. His expertise in military-grade food preservation, developed through previous royal contracts, provides the technical knowledge essential for meeting demanding specifications. Military preserved meats require different processing than civilian supplies. Master John explains as you examine his curing facilities. Extended storage in field conditions demands superior salt curing, proper moisture control, and packaging techniques that prevent contamination. Any spoilage in military supplies reflects on suppliers permanently. Your education in military food preservation continues through several intensive sessions, covering quality standards that exceed civilian requirements and preservation techniques that ensure product safety throughout extended campaigns. This specialized knowledge becomes part of your growing expertise in commercial operations that serve demanding institutional clients. Transportation logistics present your most complex coordination challenges. The required supplies exceed the capacity of typical merchant wagons, necessitating arrangements with multiple transport providers while ensuring synchronized deliveries to designated military assembly points. Medieval transportation operates according to seasonal constraints, weather limitations, and security considerations that affect scheduling throughout your supply network. You arrange for 15 heavy wagons from 7 different transport providers, each requiring detailed contracts specifying routes, timing, cargo handling procedures, and security arrangements. The coordination resembles military operations itself, with multiple moving parts that must function perfectly to achieve overall mission success. Your growing network of commercial relationships proves invaluable for managing operations at this unprecedented scale. Suppliers who trust your reliability accept challenging delivery schedules. Transport providers offer preferential pricing for substantial contracts. And local officials provide necessary permissions for moving large quantities of goods across territorial boundaries. 3 weeks into the contract period, you face your first serious crisis. Unseasonably heavy rains threaten grain quality in several storage locations, while delaying transport along muddy roads that become nearly impassable for heavily loaded wagons. The setbacks could cascade into delivery failures that compromise the entire military supply operation. Your response demonstrates how months of commercial experience have developed crisis management capabilities essential for large-scale operations. Rather than panicking about potential failures, you implement contingency plans developed during initial contract planning, activating alternative suppliers and transport routes that maintain overall delivery schedules despite localized problems. Emergency negotiations with backup grain suppliers, costly but necessary transport modifications, and extended working hours across your entire supply network prevent what could have been catastrophic delays. The additional expenses reduce your profit margins, but they preserve the reputation and relationships that represent long-term commercial value far exceeding short-term financial gains. Quality control throughout the supply chain requires constant attention as goods move from producers to transport providers, to military delivery points. You personally inspect supplies at multiple stages, ensuring that standards specified in your royal contract are maintained throughout the complex logistics chain that connects agricultural producers with military consumers. The responsibility proves exhausting but educational, teaching you operational management skills that transform your understanding of commercial enterprise. Large-scale trade requires systematic approaches that differ qualitatively from the personal relationships and informal arrangements that characterize smaller transactions. Your family notices the changes in your daily routines as the military contract consumes increasing amounts of time and energy. Extended absences for supply coordination, frequent correspondence with suppliers and transport providers, and obvious stress from managing complex operations signal that your commercial activities have reached unprecedented scale. Margaret's questions become more direct as evidence of your expanding business operations becomes impossible to conceal. The constant stream of messengers, the frequent meetings with prosperous-looking visitors, and the obvious prosperity that begins affecting your family's living conditions require explanations that acknowledge the reality of your commercial transformation. Your work has changed substantially, she observes one evening, as you review coordination schedules by candlelight. These look like business arrangements rather than simple employment. Her comment forces the conversation you've been postponing about the full scope of your commercial activities. The military supply contract represents commitments and risks that could affect your entire family, making continued secrecy both impractical and unfair to those who depend on your decisions. My work has become more complex. You acknowledge carefully. I'm coordinating supply arrangements for important clients. The work is challenging but profitable, with potential for substantial improvement in our circumstances. Your partial revelation maintains necessary discretion about specific clients, while beginning to prepare your family for the dramatic changes that successful completion of the military contract will bring to their lives. The profits from royal service could transform their circumstances permanently, but failure could endanger everything they've known and trusted. 4 weeks into the 6-week contract period, your complex supply operations are proceeding according to schedule, despite numerous challenges and obstacles. The systematic preparation and careful relationship building that characterized your commercial development have proven equal to the demands of large-scale procurement. Though success remains dependent on flawless execution of remaining deliveries, your transformation from peasant to merchant continues accelerating, each day bringing new responsibilities and new tests of capabilities that have grown far beyond your original modest ambitions. The military supply contract represents both culmination of your commercial development and foundation for future ventures at scales you're only beginning to imagine. The final wagon of military supplies rolls away from the designated assembly point precisely on schedule, marking successful completion of the largest commercial contract in your brief but rapidly expanding merchant career. Sir Geoffrey's inspection of delivered goods revealed quality that exceeded military specifications, while timing that met campaign requirements exactly. Your transformation from desperate peasant to reliable royal supplier is complete. Exceptional performance, Master Thomas, Sir Geoffrey acknowledges as he authorises final payment from royal treasury funds. The King's army received provisions of superior quality delivered according to precise military schedules. Such reliability in civilian suppliers proves rare and valuable. The leather purse containing your commission weighs heavily in your hands, £28, sterling in silver coins that represent more wealth than your ancestors accumulated across generations. More importantly, the successful completion establishes your reputation at the highest levels of English commerce, opening opportunities for future royal contracts and noble relationships that could sustain merchant operations indefinitely. His Majesty's service has been an honour, you reply, with appropriate humility, though internal excitement threatens to overwhelm your careful composure. Should future supply requirements arise, I remain available for royal service. Sir Geoffrey nods approvingly. Your professional manner and proven reliability have impressed royal purchasing officers who evaluate numerous civilian suppliers for military contracts. Success in royal service creates preferred supplier status that generates ongoing opportunities for lucrative government business. The journey home carries different energy than any previous return from commercial activities. Instead of planning next steps or calculating potential profits, you reflect on the remarkable transformation that has occurred over recent months. The desperate peasant who once counted copper pennies beneath cottage floorboards has become a merchant trusted by the crown itself. Your growing prosperity has become impossible to conceal from your family or community. The constant stream of commercial correspondence, frequent meetings with prosperous suppliers and transport providers, and obvious financial improvements signal major changes in your circumstances that require honest explanation to those affected by your decisions. Margaret greets your return with mixture of relief and anticipation, recognizing from your satisfied expression that the mysterious intensive work of recent weeks has concluded successfully. Her questions have become more direct as evidence of your commercial activities accumulated beyond plausible dismissal. Your work is finished? She asks, her tone suggesting awareness that significant developments await discussion. This particular work is finished, you reply carefully, very successfully finished, with payment that will change our circumstances substantially. That evening, after your children are asleep, you finally reveal the full scope of your commercial activities to Margaret. The hidden cache of coins, the network of supplier relationships, the progression from desperate grain negotiations to successful royal service, and everything that has transformed you from peasant to merchant over the course of less than a year. Her reaction combines amazement at the scale of your achievements with concern about the risks you've accepted without consulting her. The revelation that your family's security has depended on commercial ventures she knew nothing about creates complex emotions that require careful discussion and reassurance. You've been living a completely different life, she observes, examining the substantial collection of silver coins that represents your accumulated profits. While I worried about our daily needs, you were building relationships with nobles and conducting business with royal officers. Your explanation emphasizes the careful progression that led from small opportunities to substantial contracts, demonstrating how each successful transaction built foundation for larger ventures, while minimizing risks through systematic preparation and relationship development. The military supply contract succeeded because of months of careful groundwork rather than reckless speculation. The risks were carefully calculated, you assure her. Each opportunity built on proven successes, and failure at any stage would have affected only accumulated profits rather than our basic security. Margaret's concerns gradually transform into excited planning as you discuss how your commercial success will improve your family's circumstances. The wealth accumulated through merchant activities provides options your family never possessed: better housing, education for your children, investments in expanding business operations, and security against agricultural uncertainties that threaten peasant families annually. Your children awaken the next morning to evidence of dramatic changes in their circumstances. Instead of the rough clothing and simple foods that characterized peasant life, they discover quality garments and varied meals that reflect genuine prosperity. Their questions about these improvements provide opportunities to begin educating them about commercial activities and the merchant identity that will define their family's future. "We're no longer farmers," you explain to your eldest son, Thomas, who has shown interest in your business activities. "We're merchants who help connect producers with customers, earning profits by providing valuable services to both parties." Your teaching includes practical education about commercial principles, negotiation techniques, and relationship management that could prepare him for eventual participation in family business operations. Medieval merchant families operate as commercial partnerships, where children contribute according to their abilities, while learning skills necessary for continuing family enterprises. The transformation of your family's circumstances attracts immediate attention from neighbors who have observed your growing prosperity with curiosity and some resentment. Medieval village communities operate according to established hierarchies, where dramatic social mobility creates tensions that require careful management to avoid conflicts. Your approach emphasizes the continuing connections between your family and village community, rather than highlighting the wealth and status that distinguish you from peasant neighbors. Commercial success provides opportunities for generous support of community needs, while maintaining relationships that could prove valuable for future business operations. The village priest approaches you with request for substantial donation to repair the church roof, recognizing that your commercial success creates both opportunity and obligation to support community institutions. Your generous contribution demonstrates proper use of merchant wealth, while establishing your family's continuing commitment to local community welfare. Within weeks of completing the military supply contract, new opportunities begin arriving through referrals from satisfied clients and recognition of your proven capabilities. Lord Mortimer's household requires ongoing supplies for regular operations. Noble families across the region seek access to your supplier networks, and royal purchasing officers contact you about additional military contracts. Your commercial success has created sustainable demand for your services, rather than requiring constant pursuit of reluctant customers. Medieval merchant prosperity operates through reputation and relationships that generate recurring business opportunities for those who demonstrate consistent reliability and superior service quality. The merchant identity you developed through careful preparation and calculated risks has proven sustainable and profitable beyond your original modest ambitions. Your family's transformation from peasant poverty to merchant prosperity demonstrates that medieval England offers genuine opportunities for social mobility to those bold enough to seize them and competent enough to execute them successfully. More importantly, your success has established foundation for expanding commercial operations that could eventually rival the wealth and influence of established merchant families who have dominated regional trade for generations. The careful relationship building and systematic capability development that characterized your initial commercial activities continue creating opportunities for ventures at scales you're only beginning to imagine. Your transformation from peasant to merchant is complete, validated by royal service and sustained by networks of satisfied clients who value the reliable commercial services you've learned to provide. The wealth accumulated through successful trading provides capital for ambitious future ventures while establishing your family's permanent place among England's prosperous merchant class. Your commercial success has reached the point where operating from a peasant cottage creates practical limitations that constrain further business expansion. The constant stream of suppliers, transport providers, and noble clients requires appropriate facilities for conducting serious commercial negotiations, while your growing wealth demands secure storage and professional presentation that reflects merchant status rather than peasant origins. The property you purchase in Ashford represents everything your commercial ambitions have worked toward. A substantial stone house with separate chambers for family living and business operations, secure storage areas for valuable goods, and stables for the horses that have become essential for coordinating far-flung supply networks. The purchase price of £45 would have seemed impossible just months earlier, but your accumulated profits from successful transactions make it a sound investment in expanding operations. Master Edmund, the property's previous owner, greets your offer with respect that acknowledges your established commercial reputation rather than surprise at a peasant's presumption. Your proven reliability in royal service and successful completion of numerous noble contracts has transformed how other merchants and property owners regard you. An excellent choice for commercial operations, Master Thomas, he observes as you examine the property's business facilities. Stone construction provides security for valuable inventories, while the location offers convenient access to major trade routes and prosperous client populations. The house features amenities that seemed impossibly luxurious during your peasant childhood. Glazed windows that provide excellent light for examining goods and conducting negotiations. A great hearth that ensures comfortable conditions for important meetings, and separate chambers that allow business activities to proceed without disrupting family life. Most importantly, the property includes substantial storage areas with stone walls and secure locks that protect valuable inventories from theft, weather, and spoilage. Your growing commercial operations require safe storage for goods moving between suppliers and customers, making secure facilities essential for continued business expansion. Your family's reaction to their new home combines excitement about improved living conditions with amazement at how dramatically their circumstances have changed. Margaret explores chambers that provide privacy and comfort beyond peasant imagination, while your children discover spaces for learning and play that their former cottage could never accommodate. It's like a lord's residence. Your youngest daughter marvels as she examines glazed windows that transform simple sunlight into patterns of coloured beauty. It's a merchant's residence, you correct gently, emphasizing the commercial identity that created these opportunities. Merchants require proper facilities for conducting business with important clients who expect professional service and presentation. Your correction provides teaching opportunities about the merchant class that your family now belongs to permanently. Unlike nobles who inherit status through birth or peasants who remain bound to agricultural labour, merchants create position through commercial competence and accumulated wealth that must be maintained through continued successful operations. The process of establishing your merchant house requires careful attention to details that demonstrate professional competence while avoiding ostentation that might create resentment among former neighbours or suspicion among noble clients. Medieval social mobility requires delicate balance between displaying appropriate success and maintaining relationships across different social levels. Your business chamber features carefully selected furnishings that convey reliability without excessive luxury. A substantial oak table for contract negotiations, comfortable seating for extended discussions, and accounting materials that demonstrate systematic record-keeping essential for complex commercial operations. The overall impression emphasizes competence and stability rather than wealth or pretension. Storage areas are organized according to principles learned through managing diverse inventories for multiple clients simultaneously. Different goods require specific storage conditions. Grain must remain dry and protected from vermin. Textiles need protection from moisture and insects, and preserved foods demand cool conditions that prevent spoilage during extended storage periods. Your growing staff includes trusted employees who assist with various aspects of expanding operations. Young William, recruited from Master Robert's textile workshop, manages inventory records and assists with quality control procedures. Margaret's cousin Alice helps coordinate household operations that support business activities while maintaining family comfort. Most importantly, you employ Peter the scribe, whose literacy and numerical skills prove essential for maintaining the detailed records that complex commercial operations require. Medieval merchant success depends increasingly on accurate accounting, systematic correspondence, and careful documentation of agreements that govern relationships with multiple parties simultaneously. The establishment of formal merchant operations requires official recognition from local authorities and guild organizations that regulate commercial activities within their jurisdictions. Your application for merchant status involves demonstrating adequate capital, proven commercial competence, and acceptable social standing within the community. Master Geoffrey, head of Ashford's Merchant Guild, reviews your commercial achievements with professional interest that acknowledges your rapid rise from peasant origins to established merchant status. Your successful completion of royal contracts and satisfied noble clients provides credentials that justify guild membership despite unconventional background. Unusual progression from agricultural to commercial activities, he observes, examining documentation of your transactions over recent months. But results demonstrate genuine merchant capabilities rather than temporary speculation. Guild membership provides access to commercial privileges that independent operators cannot obtain, legal protections for business activities, standardized weights and measures that facilitate trade, and collective negotiation power with suppliers and transport providers that reduces operational costs while improving service quality. Your merchant house becomes the center of expanding commercial networks that connect agricultural producers with noble consumers across an increasingly wide geographic area. Weekly meetings with suppliers, regular correspondence with client households, and systematic planning for seasonal supply requirements create operational rhythms that define your new identity as established merchant. The success of your commercial transformation attracts attention from other ambitious individuals seeking similar opportunities for social advancement. Young men from peasant families approach you seeking employment or apprenticeship opportunities that might provide access to merchant careers, while established producers seek partnerships that could improve their market access. Your response emphasizes the systematic preparation and relationship development that enabled your own success, rather than suggesting that commercial advancement results from luck or accident. Medieval merchant careers require specific skills, accumulated knowledge, and proven reliability that must be developed through careful progression rather than dramatic speculation. Merchant success requires understanding of multiple complex relationships, you explain to potential apprentices. Supplier capabilities, customer requirements, transport logistics, quality standards, seasonal patterns, and financial planning all contribute to successful operations. Knowledge in each area must be developed systematically through experience and study. Your teaching creates opportunities to formalize the knowledge you've accumulated through practical experience, while establishing your merchant house as a center for commercial education that could attract quality employees and potential partners for future ventures. The establishment of your merchant house represents completion of the transformation you began as desperate peasant counting copper pennies beneath cottage floorboards. Your family's permanent elevation to merchant class status demonstrates that medieval England offers genuine opportunities for social mobility to those willing to accept calculated risks while developing capabilities necessary for sustained commercial success. More importantly, your merchant house provides foundation for expanding operations that could eventually challenge the dominance of established commercial families who have controlled regional trade for generations. The systematic approach that enabled your initial success continues creating opportunities for ventures at scales that could transform you from successful merchant to influential commercial leader. Your transformation from peasant to merchant is not only complete, but sustainable, supported by proven capabilities, established relationships, and accumulated wealth that generates ongoing opportunities for continued growth and expansion in medieval England's dynamic commercial environment. Your established merchant house has become a centre of commercial activity that rivals operations controlled by families who have dominated regional trade for generations. The systematic relationship building and proven reliability that launched your career, it continued generating opportunities for increasingly ambitious ventures, while your accumulated wealth provides capital for investments that expand your influence throughout medieval England's complex commercial networks. Guild politics have become essential to your continued success as your operations grow beyond individual transactions to encompass systematic influence over regional trade patterns. Your rapid rise from peasant origins to established merchant status has attracted both admiration and resentment from guild members whose families built commercial positions over multiple generations. Master Geoffrey's retirement from guild leadership creates opportunities for advancement that could significantly expand your commercial influence. The position of guildmaster provides not only prestige, but practical power over trade regulations, quality standards, and membership policies that affect all merchants operating within the jurisdiction. Your campaign for guild leadership emphasizes the innovative approaches and expanded market access that your commercial success has demonstrated rather than traditional claims based on family heritage or accumulated wealth. Medieval guild politics operate through complex combinations of commercial competence, personal relationships, and political maneuvering that reward proven capabilities. Regional commerce requires adaptation to changing markets and customer requirements. You address the guild assembly, outlining your platform for modernizing traditional approaches. Our success depends on understanding noble household needs, military supply requirements, and emerging opportunities that traditional methods might overlook. Your speech demonstrates how the practical experience gained through diverse commercial activities has provided insights that could benefit all guild members. Unlike speeches that emphasize personal achievements, your approach focuses on collective benefits that guild leadership could provide to the entire merchant community. The voting process reveals the complex dynamics that characterize medieval commercial organizations. Established merchant families, who initially viewed your peasant origins with suspicion, have developed respect for proven results, while newer members see your success as evidence that merit rather than inheritance should determine advancement opportunities. Master Robert's support proves influential among textile producers who have benefited from your market development activities, while transportation providers value your systematic approach to logistics coordination that has improved their operational efficiency and profitability. Your election as guildmaster by narrow majority represents recognition that commercial competence should take precedence over traditional social hierarchies in determining merchant leadership. The victory establishes your authority over trade policies that could significantly expand opportunities for innovative commercial approaches. Guild leadership responsibilities require balancing diverse interests while advancing overall commercial development within the region. Established merchants seek protection for traditional advantages, while newer participants want access to opportunities that established families have controlled historically. Your approach emphasizes expanding total commercial activity rather than redistributing existing opportunities, creating benefits for all participants while addressing legitimate concerns about excessive disruption of successful business relationships. The first major decision of your guild leadership involves responding to royal requests for expanded military supply capabilities that exceed current merchant resources. The King's planned campaigns require logistical support at unprecedented scales, creating opportunities for enormous profits balanced by correspondingly large risks. Your proposal for collective guild response demonstrates how coordinated merchant activities could manage contracts too large for individual operators, while distributing risks and profits among multiple participants. The approach builds on successful collaboration principles while extending them to ventures that could significantly expand guild influence. Combined guild operations could provide military supplies at scales that individual merchants cannot achieve, you explain to assembled members. Shared resources, coordinated logistics, and collective quality guarantees would enable contracts that exceed our current individual capabilities. The proposal generates extensive discussion about profit distribution, risk allocation, and operational control that reveals underlying tensions between established merchant interests and emerging opportunities for expanded activities. Your management of these discussions demonstrates the political skills that complement commercial competence in guild leadership roles. Successful resolution requires understanding diverse member interests while building consensus around approaches that benefit the organization overall. The approved guild military supply proposal leads to negotiations with royal purchasing officers who recognize the advantages of dealing with organized merchant groups rather than coordinating multiple individual suppliers. Your personal relationships with royal officials, developed through successful previous contracts, facilitate arrangements that benefit all guild participants. The resulting military supply contract exceeds £2,000 in total value, with complexity that requires coordination among every guild member while generating profits sufficient to significantly expand all participating merchant operations. Your leadership role in managing this enormous undertaking establishes your position as the region's most influential commercial organizer. Success in collective military supply operations creates foundation for additional collaborative ventures that leverage guild resources for opportunities beyond individual merchant capabilities. Foreign trade partnerships, noble household supply agreements, and seasonal commodity speculation all become accessible through coordinated guild activities. Your personal commercial operations continue expanding alongside guild leadership responsibilities, though the focus shifts toward higher value transactions and strategic investments rather than operational management of individual supply relationships. Trusted employees manage routine commercial activities, while you concentrate on developing new market opportunities and expanding business networks. The merchant house that began as necessary operational facility has evolved into regional commercial headquarters, where important business decisions affecting multiple counties are made regularly. Your weekly meetings include representatives from noble households, royal officials, and foreign merchants who recognize your influence over substantial commercial resources. Your family's adaptation to their elevated social position demonstrates how successful commercial advancement affects all aspects of medieval life. Your children receive education that prepares them for leadership roles in expanding commercial operations, while Margaret has developed the social skills necessary for representing merchant interests in interactions with noble families. Most significantly, your success has begun attracting attention from foreign merchants who seek partnerships with established English commercial operators for accessing domestic markets. These relationships could eventually expand your operations beyond regional boundaries to encompass international trade opportunities. The transformation from desperate peasant to influential guild leader demonstrates that medieval England's commercial environment rewards systematic preparation, calculated risk-taking, and proven competence regardless of social origins. Your success has created opportunities not only for personal advancement, but for broader commercial development that benefits entire communities. Your influence over regional trade patterns now affects thousands of people whose livelihoods depend on commercial activities that you help coordinate and direct. The responsibility requires continued attention to collective benefits while maintaining the innovative approaches that enabled your remarkable rise from peasant poverty to merchant leadership. Guild leadership has provided platform for commercial influence that extends far beyond individual transaction profits to encompass systematic impact on how medieval commerce operates throughout your region. Your success continues creating opportunities for ventures that could eventually challenge the dominance of established commercial centres in London and other major cities. Your commercial empire has expanded beyond regional boundaries to encompass international trade relationships that connect English producers with continental markets through sophisticated networks of foreign partnerships. The systematic approach that launched your merchant career has evolved to manage operations spanning multiple countries while coordinating currencies, languages, and commercial laws that vary significantly across medieval Europe. The Flemish wool merchants who first contacted you through guild connections have become partners in ventures that dwarf your original agricultural transactions. Master Henri of Bruges seeks exclusive access to English wool exports through arrangements that guarantee premium prices for superior fleeces, while providing continental market access that individual English producers could never achieve independently. English wool commands exceptional prices in Flemish markets, Master Henry explains. During negotiations conducted in your merchant house's great chamber, but quality consistency and reliable delivery schedules require partnerships with suppliers who understand continental requirements. Your role in these international arrangements extends beyond simple intermediary functions to comprehensive commercial coordination that manages every aspect of complex trade relationships. Quality specifications must satisfy foreign customer requirements. Transportation logistics must coordinate English producers with continental shipping schedules, and financial arrangements must accommodate multiple currencies and international banking systems. The wool export contracts you negotiate represent values that exceed entire regional economies to AP, over £800 sterling annually in combined transactions that involve dozens of English producers and multiple continental buyers. Your commission from these international operations alone generates more wealth than most nobles possess, while establishing your reputation in commercial centres throughout Europe. International trade requires financial capabilities that extend far beyond the simple coin transactions that characterized your early commercial activities. Continental merchants operate through sophisticated credit arrangements, foreign exchange systems, and banking relationships that enable commerce across distances and timeframes, impossible with traditional medieval monetary systems. Your partnership with Master Abraham, a Jewish banker whose London operations provide access to international financial networks, enables the complex monetary arrangements that international trade requires. His expertise in foreign exchange, credit instruments, and international banking law proves essential for managing transactions that span multiple currencies and legal jurisdictions. International commerce operates through trust relationships that transcend individual transactions, Master Abraham explains, as he instructs you in banking principles that govern large-scale trade. Credit arrangements, currency exchanges, and payment guarantees all depend on proven reliability that must be maintained consistently across all business relationships. Your education in international banking reveals commercial possibilities that extend far beyond trading in physical goods to encompass financial services that generate profits through managing money itself. Lending operations, currency speculation, and investment management all become accessible through the banking relationships that support your expanding international trade activities. The banking operations you develop alongside international trade activities require careful navigation of religious restrictions on usury, while meeting legitimate commercial needs for credit and financial services. Medieval banking operates through creative arrangements that satisfy both religious authorities and practical commercial requirements. Your lending activities focus on supporting productive enterprises rather than simple consumption loans that religious authorities consider problematic. Financing for agricultural improvements, craft workshop expansions, and merchant inventory purchases all provide legitimate commercial benefits while generating reasonable returns on invested capital. The complexity of managing both international trade and banking operations requires expanded staffing with specialists who possess skills beyond traditional merchant capabilities. Your employment of Master Peter, a university-educated clerk who understands international law and foreign languages, enables sophisticated contract negotiations with continental partners. Similarly, your recruitment of Master David, an experienced banker who understands currency markets and international finance, provides expertise essential for managing the monetary aspects of complex international transactions that extend across multiple countries and currencies. Your merchant house has evolved into a comprehensive commercial institution that rivals operations controlled by established banking families in London and other major cities. Daily activities include negotiating international trade agreements, managing foreign exchange transactions, coordinating complex logistics operations, and providing financial services to commercial clients throughout the region. The scale of your operations has attracted attention from royal officials who recognize the strategic value of successful international commerce for England's economic development. Your ability to generate substantial export revenues while attracting foreign investment provides benefits that extend beyond personal profit to encompass national commercial interests. Sir William the Treasurer, responsible for royal revenue collection and economic policy, seeks regular consultation about international trade opportunities and foreign commercial relationships that could benefit England's overall economic development. Your practical experience with continental markets provides insights that government officials value highly. English commerce requires systematic development of foreign relationships that extend beyond traditional boundaries, you advise during royal economic planning discussions. Continental markets offer opportunities for expanding English exports while attracting foreign investment that could significantly increase domestic prosperity. Your influence over international commercial relationships has begun affecting England's overall economic development in ways that extend far beyond individual transaction profits. The foreign partnerships you've developed create models for expanding English commercial influence throughout continental Europe. Royal recognition of your commercial achievements leads to formal appointment as King's Merchant for International Trade Development, a position that provides official authority for negotiating commercial agreements that affect England's economic relationships with foreign countries. The appointment establishes your transformation from peasant origins to national commercial leadership, demonstrating that medieval England offers extraordinary opportunities for advancement to those who develop appropriate capabilities while seizing available opportunities with calculated boldness. Your personal wealth has grown beyond practical measurement in traditional terms, property holdings across multiple counties, international business partnerships, banking relationships, and investment portfolios that generate income exceeding the revenues of minor nobles. Yet the most significant achievement involves creating commercial systems that benefit thousands of people whose livelihoods depend on the trade relationships you've developed. Your family's position has evolved correspondingly, with your children receiving education that prepares them for international commercial leadership, while your wife has developed skills necessary for representing English merchant interests in diplomatic and social situations that affect commercial relationships. The merchant empire you've constructed through systematic preparation, calculated risk-taking, and consistent, reliable performance has become a permanent institution that will continue generating benefits long beyond your personal involvement. Your commercial innovations have created foundations for English international trade development that could eventually challenge the dominance of established commercial powers. Your transformation from desperate peasant to influential international merchant demonstrates the remarkable opportunities for social advancement that medieval England's dynamic commercial environment provides to those bold enough to seize them and competent enough to execute them successfully. Most importantly, your success has proven that careful preparation, systematic relationship building, and willingness to accept calculated risks can overcome any circumstances of birth to achieve extraordinary commercial success and social advancement in medieval England's evolving economic system. Your transformation from peasant to merchant prince is complete, validated by achievements that exceed your most ambitious early dreams. The commercial empire you've constructed through systematic preparation and calculated risk-taking now spans 3 countries, employs over 50 people directly, and influences economic activity that affects thousands of lives throughout medieval England and continental Europe. The Great Hall of your London residence, purchased 2 years ago to provide appropriate headquarters for your expanding international operations, hosts meetings that determine commercial policies affecting entire regions. Royal officials, continental merchants, guild leaders, and noble representatives gather regularly to discuss trade agreements, economic development initiatives, and financial arrangements that shape medieval Europe's evolving commercial landscape. Your morning begins, as always, with review of correspondence from your far-flung commercial networks. Reports arrive from wool buyers in Flanders, grain merchants in France, textile producers across England, and banking partners in Italian city-states. The systematic information gathering that launched your career has evolved into comprehensive intelligence operations that monitor commercial opportunities throughout the known world. Master Peter, now your chief administrator, summarizes the day's most important developments while you break your fast with foods that represent the global reach of your commercial relationships. Wine from France, spices from the Mediterranean, fine bread from Italian wheat, and preserved fruits from distant lands that most English peasants never imagine. The Flemish contracts require renewed negotiations before the autumn trading season, he reports, consulting detailed records that document every aspect of your complex international relationships. Master Henri requests meetings in Bruges to discuss expanded partnership arrangements for next year's wool exports. The Royal Treasury seeks consultation about foreign exchange policies that could affect international trade revenues, he continues. Sir William believes your expertise in continental banking could help develop new approaches to monetary policy. The responsibilities that accompany commercial success require constant attention to relationships and opportunities that extend far beyond personal profit to encompass broader economic development. Your influence over international trade patterns carries obligations to consider collective benefits while maintaining the innovative approaches that enabled your remarkable advancement. Your afternoon is devoted to meetings with young merchants seeking guidance about developing their own commercial operations. The systematic mentoring you provide represents both obligation to share knowledge that enabled your success and investment in developing future partners for expanding business relationships. Commercial success requires understanding multiple complex relationships simultaneously. You explain to assembled apprentices, sharing insights developed through years of practical experience, supplier capabilities, customer requirements, transportation logistics, quality standards, seasonal patterns, financial planning, and international regulations all contribute to successful operations. Your teaching emphasizes the systematic preparation and relationship development that characterized your own advancement, rather than suggesting that commercial success results from luck or accident. Medieval merchant careers require specific skills, accumulated knowledge, and proven reliability that must be developed through careful progression rather than dramatic speculation. The young men who seek your guidance come from diverse backgrounds, some from established merchant families seeking to expand traditional operations, others from artisan families hoping to enter commercial activities, and a few from peasant origins similar to your own childhood circumstances. Your response to each student reflects understanding of how different backgrounds create different opportunities and challenges, while emphasizing universal principles that apply regardless of social origins. Successful commerce requires competence, reliability, and systematic approaches that transcend individual circumstances or inherited advantages. Evening brings private reflection on the remarkable journey that has transformed your family's circumstances beyond recognition. The desperate peasant who once counted copper pennies beneath cottage floorboards has become one of medieval England's most influential commercial leaders, with wealth that exceeds many nobles and influence that affects international economic relationships. Your children have grown into young adults who understand commercial principles as naturally as their peasant grandparents understood agricultural rhythms. Young Thomas, now 16, demonstrates remarkable aptitude for international trade negotiations, while your daughter Catherine has developed skills in textile marketing that could establish her own commercial operations. Margaret's adaptation to her elevated social position demonstrates how successful commercial advancement affects entire families. Her management of household operations that support complex business activities, her social skills in representing merchant interests among noble families, and her understanding of international commercial relationships all contribute to your continued success. Most significantly, your family's transformation has created opportunities for future generations that extend far beyond individual achievement. The commercial systems you've developed will continue generating benefits while providing foundation for expanded operations that could eventually challenge established commercial powers throughout Europe. Your reflection includes consideration of the broader social changes that your success represents and influences. Medieval England's traditional social hierarchies are gradually adapting to accommodate successful merchants whose wealth and influence rival or exceed that of hereditary nobles. The commercial innovations you've pioneered, systematic international trade relationships, sophisticated banking operations, collective guild activities, and comprehensive quality management systems, and End and NB have created models that other merchants throughout Europe are beginning to adopt. Your influence extends beyond personal achievement to encompass systematic impact on how medieval commerce operates throughout your region and beyond. The relationships you've developed, the standards you've established, and the innovations you've introduced continue affecting commercial activities that involve thousands of participants. The transformation from peasant poverty to merchant leadership demonstrates that medieval England's evolving economic system rewards systematic preparation, calculated risk-taking, and proven competence regardless of social origins. Your success has created opportunities not only for personal advancement, but for broader commercial development that benefits entire communities. As you prepare for sleep in chambers that display wealth beyond peasant imagination, you recognize that your commercial empire represents more than individual achievement. The systematic approaches that enabled your success have created foundations for continued economic development that will benefit future generations long after your personal involvement ends. Your legacy extends beyond accumulated wealth to encompass the commercial relationships, innovative business methods, and social changes that your remarkable transformation has created throughout medieval England and continental Europe. The desperate ambition that launched your merchant career has evolved into systematic influence that continues shaping economic opportunities for countless others. The merchant prince you've become through careful preparation, calculated risks, and consistent, reliable performance has proven that medieval England offers extraordinary opportunities for advancement to those bold enough to seize them and competent enough to execute them successfully. Your transformation from peasant to merchant prince is complete, but the commercial systems you've created will continue generating benefits and opportunities that extend far beyond your personal achievements into medieval England's evolving economic future. Thank you for joining me on this remarkable journey through medieval England, where we followed the extraordinary transformation of Thomas from desperate peasant to influential merchant prince. Through 15 detailed parts, we witnessed how careful preparation, calculated risk-taking, and systematic relationship building could overcome even the humblest origins in medieval society. From that first dawn, when Thomas counted his meagre savings beneath the cottage floorboards, to his final reflections as a wealthy international trader whose influence shaped commerce across Europe, we've seen how ambition supported by genuine competence could achieve what seemed impossible in medieval England's rigid social hierarchy. This story demonstrates that even in an age when most people never travelled beyond 10 miles from their birthplace, never slept in real beds, and rarely bathed, extraordinary opportunities existed for those bold enough to recognise them and skilled enough to execute them successfully. Thomas's journey from peasant poverty to merchant prosperity proves that medieval England's evolving commercial environment rewarded merit, reliability, and innovation regardless of social origins. The systematic approach that characterized Thomas's advancement, careful market research, strategic relationship building, quality service delivery, and reinvestment of profits into expanding operations created sustainable commercial success that benefited not only his family, but entire communities whose livelihoods became connected to his growing business empire. If you enjoyed following Thomas's remarkable transformation and learned something about medieval commerce, social mobility, and the power of systematic preparation in achieving ambitious goals, please like and subscribe for more historical stories that bring the past to life through detailed, immersive narratives. Thank you for listening, and remember, whether in medieval England or any other time and place, extraordinary achievement remains possible for those willing to combine careful preparation with bold action in pursuit of their dreams.